South Africa is drowning in excuses, corruption, and dysfunction. And in the middle of the Karoo, there exists a town that cuts through the lies like a razor, Orania. Now imagine not one, but 10 Oranias. This isn't a defense of Orania, it is a brutal wake-up call to a nation that has mastered the art of blaming and forgotten how to build. For those sick of the political theatre, tired of empty slogans, and ready for a real confrontation with reality, this is the conversation they've been avoiding. South Africa is not collapsing because of apartheid, nor because of colonialism. That excuse expired decades ago. The country is a mess because its people have failed to build, because the political culture has replaced responsibility with outrage and discipline with chaos. Orania stands as a functioning anomaly in this dysfunction, and instead of learning from it, many want it burned to the ground. That speaks volumes. The outrage isn't about injustice. It's about the deep discomfort caused by undeniable proof that something better could have been built. Now take that discomfort and push it further. What if there were 10 Oranias in South Africa? Not 10 Afrikaner replicas, but 10 self-governed, low-crime, economically productive towns built by different communities. Towns founded by Xhosa people, by Zulu-speaking South Africans, by colored communities, by Indians, by anyone willing to put in the work required to build. The idea shouldn't be radical, but it is, because it exposes everything the current political class wants to hide. Orania began in 1991 on a piece of land nobody wanted, with just 13 residents. Today it has close to 3,000 people, its own bank, its own local currency, a 2% unemployment rate, and almost no crime. There is no police station. It isn't needed. In a country where over 75 murders occur daily, Orania has experienced only one violent incident in 3 decades, a murder-suicide in 2025. That's not mythology. That's not a theory. Those are hard facts. While billions have been poured into townships like Soweto, Khayelitsha, and Alexandra since 1994, what has been produced? Crumbling infrastructure, sky-high unemployment, generational poverty, political promises, nothing more. The real outrage at Orania is not about race, it's about accountability. Orania forces a harsh reflection, and many don't like what they see in that mirror. The town doesn't riot, it doesn't loot, it doesn't wait for government help, it builds. That makes it dangerous to a political elite that thrives on dependency and dysfunction. The economic freedom fighters want Orania dismantled. Julius Malema calls it a country within a country and threatens to dilute it with forced integration. But if a Zulu or Xhosa-led town did the exact same thing, used the law, followed procedure, built independently and legally, would the outrage be the same? Of course not, because this isn't about legality. It's about control. Imagine a Zulu-led Orania in KwaZulu-Natal, powered by solar, with local schools and economic systems. Picture a colored-led Orania in the Western Cape, focused on fishing, small business, and clean urban living. A Venda Orania built around tech and innovation. An Indian Orania with private education hubs and commerce. A Tswana Orania based on solar farming and livestock. These are not utopias. They are what responsible, self-determined people can build when they stop begging and start working. The reality is that South Africa's constitution allows this. Section 235 protects cultural self-determination. Any group can legally do what Orania has done, yet none have tried. Not because of racial exclusion, but because too many are addicted to blaming others. Because it is easier to call successful models racist than to build a competing one. Let that sink in. The outrage isn't that Orania bans people. It doesn't. Its entry rules are cultural. Fluency in Afrikaans, a clean criminal record, and willingness to contribute to the community's values. That may be exclusionary, but it's legal. And any other community could adopt similar standards aligned with its own culture. This country does not suffer from oppression. It suffers from political cowardice and generational laziness. People have been handed power, they've been handed funds, they've been given time, and they've wasted it. That's why they hate Orania. Because it works. Because it reveals that the failure is not systemic, it's chosen. South Africa had 30 years to prove it could thrive without apartheid. But today the crime rates are among the worst in the world. Electricity is unreliable, schools are broken, hospitals are falling apart. The only thing that has improved is the size of government salaries. So what explains Orania's success? Is it white supremacy? Or is it leadership, planning, and execution? Critics say Orania clings to a past filled with pain. They're not wrong. It honors holidays that celebrate Afrikaner nationalism. It was founded by people tied to apartheid ideology. Its population is 97% white. These are uncomfortable facts. But here's the legal truth. It remains within the bounds of the South African Constitution. It is not illegal. It has not committed mass injustice. It has simply refused to rot like the rest of the country. And the critics aren't angry at that ideology, they're angry at the results. Orania has built a parallel system and it's working. That is what terrifies the political elite, because if even one other community dares to replicate it, the illusion of central authority crumbles. The bureaucracy collapses. The EFF's rage loses its audience. The ANC's promises lose their leverage. That's why Orania is seen as dangerous. Not because it's racist, but because it's proof that South Africa's dysfunction is not inevitable. This is not a romantic defense of Afrikaner separatism. It is a brutal confrontation with reality. The path to prosperity does not lie in more protests or political noise. It lies in building, in creating something tangible, something local, something lasting. Ask this question: what has been built in Soweto that can rival Orania? What does Khayelitsha have to show after 3 decades of democracy? Why hasn't anyone built something better? The answer is simple, because destruction is fast and easy, but building takes time, vision, discipline, and courage. Orania dared to build, others did not. Let that truth sink in, and then ask, what is stopping any other group from building their own future? Not apartheid, not colonialism, not the Constitution, just a lack of courage. This message should be shared, not because Orania's ideology is to be celebrated, but because the right to build must be defended. If that right is attacked, then freedom in South Africa is nothing more than a myth. Let people build. Let people own. Let people govern themselves. The alternative is chaos, collapse, and endless blame. Orania will stand, not because it is flawless, but because it builds while others burn. For those who believe in truth over propaganda, it is time to act. Subscribe to the channel, comment, share this message, and let the ads play fully or for at least 30 seconds to help keep this content alive. Support the channel through a super thanks donation, become a channel member, and make sure to support voices that challenge the comfortable lies of failed leadership. Until the next video, start building and stop blaming.